in person.
In
Physics
person
in
meeting.
person. Yeah.
Great meeting you.
Nice to meet you too.
We hope it's a great sound, right? Like
Yeah,
whatever.
we'll figure it out. Someone will tell us. I hope.
Live, a comment.
What?
We have some guests in the back
We
helping us
got
with the
we got the
setup.
sound crew over here.
Yeah, that's just like me. Thank you for listening. That works.
We're joking. Alrighty, guys. So today we are going to explain how to replace yourself with
In the
AI.
in the midst in the midst, right? Is that how you say in the midst of facing challenges? And through March, we've been talking and discussing about business logic challenges. I think, and many will probably also embrace the idea that they face this challenge when they're growing their company, and that would be uh, replacing yourself with AI. How do you do that? So that's our logic for today.
Yeah, and nobody won't. What's it saying? Ain't nobody want to work.
You know, then
I
nobody
want to
got
work.
time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Wow, that's
That's what we
big.
need to do.
That's a like the best setup. We just made.
Yeah,
Gracias.
yeah. It made a huge difference
Yes.
to the light. Thank you. So let's see here. Sorry, guys. We're
I
trying to
think
get
you're on page.
yeah wrong page.
Wrong page. Yep.
Trying to do all this from one screen. All right.
Okay.
So now
Again.
let's present this one. There we go. So here we are. How's that? Beautiful. And then we hope the jazz is fine. Let's open up the chat. All right. We're live now. We're ready. Sorry about that, guys. New setup, different place. Trying to figure it out. Doing it all live. But anyways, this is what we're talking about today. So, welcome to our Techno Happy Hour, where we're trying to make the world a better place, one solution at a time. This month, we're talking about AI-driven solutions, and we're already talking. We've already talked about what we're about to talk about.
We did. I think many of the things are just in different wording.
Right.
Yeah. So this was last week.
Yep. We did the e-commerce business and some workflows. And so today's session, we're going to talk about how to make your business grow. And as a business owner, you make your business grow by replacing yourself. And how do you replace yourself? You can use AI, you can use people, you can use systems, you use processes.
Hmm.
Um, so that's kind of what we're talking about today. And so, what are some key challenges that we need to overcome? AI is not a one time setup. I mean, AI is not done, right? It's not a complete perfect product. So, it's going to be iterations, and we need trust, and we need to not lose your personal touch, right? So, that's what we're going to be talking about today. And automation won't save your business unless you fix you first. And so, um, that's kind of the approach that everybody should have with AI.
Hmm.
because AI is a chatbot. It's a user interface. It's a chat interface for the person using it, for the one typing the questions and the prompts.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the individual contributor. So if we fix the individual contributor, which is you, then we have time to do all other
The
stuff.
other replacement. Yep.
We figure you fix yourself, then you can go fix other people. You can help fix other people. So how does an owner of a business replace themselves with AI? Well, step one, you got to know what you do and how you do it.
Mm-hmm. So this is only there were like many questions that were from each of the steps, but these are like the main, like, we cannot go through how do you do this in manufacturing or restaurant business, or no, you
There's
have to
too
do
many
this
tasks.
from, yeah, you have to do this from a space of a general, yeah, from a general space.
No, from your general
Yeah.
space.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta, you gotta. It's like COVID, right? You gotta worry about your 6 feet,
Oh wow.
right?
Yeah,
With the whole
that's a
COVID
good,
situation.
yeah, that's a great example.
If
It's
you just worry
definitely.
about your 6 feet and
Mm-hmm.
you take care of your 6 feet
Mm-hmm.
and you
Yeah, you
hand off
remember that you have to, like, there. We don't do that,
anymore,
not necessarily anymore,
right?
but I think that there's some people still, guard their own.
6 feet.
Yeah, and but we don't do it that often, but we used to, and we kind of like went like on that direction without having anyone to touch your
Yeah,
space.
double arm length.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So how do you do that? Identify your core business functions, right? What are some AI powered decision making that you need to do? You need to make, ultimately you're the one that
Yeah,
needs to make
this
the
is my
decision.
favorite.
The human AI balance.
Yeah.
Laura's all about balance. She told us that yesterday.
Yeah, that's one thing. I think a lot of people that have gone through, um, you know, issues, and we all had ones, right?
Yeah.
We've all been through transformation and challenges and work in your personal and work environment. And so I think balance does define kind of like the word that you want to. That's like your aim. You aim to have the balance and the moment in which you even for those of you that are religious and for those of you that are spiritual, you kind of like ask the superior being for guidance, and that's balance, because that's literally
Yeah.
just not
You're not gonna
falling
fall
on your
over.
foot. Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. So yes, is one of my favorite words, definitely.
And governance and cybersecurity is last here, but a better visual for this is a circle,
Hmm.
right? Because it goes back. You can put governance first, and that's the very first thing that you start, right? What's your governance? What are the compliances that you have to follow and regulations that you have to follow, and how are you going to secure that information? Once you know that, then you can move on to identify core business functions. Then how do you make some AI powered decisions? And then how do you have the human in the loop and maintain that balance? Um, so here we're visualizing it as a, hey, here's a train, here's a track that you go forward with, but think about it that this track goes around the globe, right? And so you go back to, once you're done with governance or you start with governance, and depends on where you want to start, what's more important to you as the individual contributor or the business owner, then you start from there, you identify what you need to do there, and then you have to move on to the next step and just go in that full circle. And then once you have these in place, what are you going to do to scale and monitor that AI driven business growth?
Hmm. So we got some questions prepared for yourself. Um, I think some of it go more in depth with what you want. Um, one of the very first one, which is almost probably the most challenging, is to have in your core a long-term vision. It's like, what do you want?
Exactly.
And I'm gonna
What's most
go,
important?
yeah, I'm gonna go gender bias here and say, what does a woman want? Oh,
Oh, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know.
you know
What
what
is
you
what?
want. I know what I want. But the whole thing is that your vision is so important. It just goes along and with at hand with what you want to achieve. Hmm.
What does a woman?
What
That
does a woman
that's a
want?
great question to ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
You know, Alvin?
They don't know.
The
They don't
woman
know.
doesn't
I
know.
love that. I love that meme. What do you want? You know, from that notebook. From
It's
that
not
note.
that simple.
It's not that simple. Yes. And this is my gender. I am making an observation of, but please just feel like it's just a joke, okay? And I'm a woman, so that's like the one of the main and most difficult is that like get a long term vision to follow and say, oh, this is what I want to do. That's awesome.
You know, as a just to keep talking from a gender perspective, what does a man want?
Yeah, right.
Right? To
What
be
does
left
a
alone.
yeah? It's
Right?
like stop bothering me.
Just give
Give
me
me my
be.
space. For all the ladies here listening,
uh,
give them your space.
so, how can AI support and enhance the company's core mission and long-term vision? That's you hit it right on the nail. What do you
Yeah.
want? What's more important? What's the core of the company? What is
Hmm.
who who is the output of who the company serves
Hmm. And the one of the
or your role?
I think I'm gonna put on an example of a lot of entrepreneurs that I see they face when they face challenges and they literally change from one direction to another. It's because they face all of these multi interests, and a lot of people have a lot of interest now. They want to, but do you want to really sell the art, or do you want to monitor all of your tracking customers and see what's on the line in the queue? I mean, you don't know what you're facing. You have no idea that your art is going to make you learn about stock and in your material
The
stocking,
news,
right?
yeah, like new,
Getting your
yeah,
vendors
hmm
right, because
your pipelines,
yeah, all of that, and you have no
supply
idea that
chain,
art is taking you in that direction until you actually do it.
yeah, and
That was
here,
only one example.
yeah, and here we're talking about company's core mission, but
Hmm.
we can also talk about what's the core vision of that core mission
Hmm.
of the role,
Yeah.
right? So an individual, if we're talking from an individual contributor perspective of hey, you have a role to perform.
Hmm.
How can AI support and enhance that role, the mission of that role, and how does it support the long-term vision, and how does that apply to the bigger company,
Hmm.
right? So um, everything's important.
Hmm.
It's not just top down
No.
and bottom up.
Mm-mm.
It's all of the intricacies
Yeah.
that connect them all the way down and all the way up.
Yeah, and I'm only thinking about that client of ours that they are not in the digital space, savvy, technological. They're willing, which is great because also a step of taking the direction of being um, in the digital age. They
Right.
have to
They
have
need. They know
the
technology
presence.
is
They
important.
exactly, yeah.
They just haven't had
They have the
the
awareness,
experience. They
yeah.
have the awareness.
Hmm. And so, and they want to. They have a vision of what they want to do, and the vision of what they want to do is to create this type of art. Oh wow! And when I saw when one client tells you what do they want, you kind of like go on. That's great. That's great that you're
If they
driven.
know what they want.
Yeah, that's great that you're driven and you don't want to deal with these and that and these. Yeah, we can place all of those things on a list because you don't want to deal with those. But then we enter there and we go, oh, we can do this for you, and the
Yeah.
implementation. That's really cool. And I think most of the in the two-step process that we're seeing right now on how you are going to replace yourself, but you're going to make AI work for you. That's crucial. It's crucial to
Yeah.
know.
Absolutely. And so going into the second question, what aspects of leadership and decision making should remain human led versus AI driven?
Mm-hmm. A
That's
tough
a
one.
depends on the core mission of the
Yeah.
company. That depends
Mm-hmm.
on regulation. That depends on data risk,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? Like what are is your data right? Are you is your AI, what's the confidence of your AI algorithm and the platform that you're using to be able to accurately make those decisions?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what gatekeeping methodologies do you have to put into place for these agents? So that one, that one's a very broad question, but it's a very important one because it makes you list on the things, your constraints. What can't you
Ooh,
do?
you're limited. Your
Your
limitations.
limits. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Your limitations. That's true. That's awesome.
If you know what you can't do with AI, then you know what you can't do. You can do everything else.
Yeah. Like up to here.
Yeah. Here's where the line's drawn.
Mm-hmm.
So now on to AI implementation and automation. So which key processes can AI automate to improve efficiency without compromising quality?
Mm-hmm.
It's very important. Um, and that also depends with where the state of AI is.
Mm-hmm.
Are you using a state of the art model? Are you using an open source model like DeepSeek? Because those are going to have very different responses
Mm-hmm.
and that very different applications as to where you would use them and how. Um, so, or maybe you use both, like what we do. We're completely agnostic to any of the large language models because they're all going in their own path, right? There's some are really great at one things like coding and creative writing
Mm-hmm.
and ideas and ideation and images and video and
Mm-hmm.
but no one is perfect in
In all
one
of them.
in all of them.
In
Yeah,
all of them. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe one day they will.
not right now.
No.
Yeah,
Well. Yep.
not. I don't think it's gonna take some time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing about it. We don't know. Like I don't think the models that we have now have been put to the ringer yet. Like I don't really think that we've like if we just stopped AI, like just stopped the development of AI and just
Mm-hmm.
used what we have today,
Hmm.
I don't think we know what that limit of what it's capable of doing with the knowledge and data and information that it's able to do today because it's being built.
Yeah. On a constant basis.
Yeah, it's still a prototype. Because I know for us, we're building AI platforms and AI systems, and we ourselves. I mean, there's no concrete path. We're just
Mm-hmm. There's an
figuring.
existing ground,
Right.
but it's not necessarily
It's
a
a
good
growing
path.
tree.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah,
growing
that makes
branches
sense.
and twigs and leaves, and we're just trying to get to one end. One. So essentially, it's just we're trying to figure out all the dead ends.
Mm-hmm. For each industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was also thinking about how does an e-commerce platform differentiates from an art platform in which you want clients to be there are just different questions. So for one is one thing, and for the other is just this
Completely different.
opposite. It's delivery, it's time, and then the other one is quality and colors, and there's that's two AIs right there.
Yeah. What's more
That
important?
yes.
Literally, what's more important? That
Hmm.
is the leadership. And
I think it's the next question that
so,
is
how do we
the
ensure
processes.
AI integrates smoothly with existing workflows and technology?
Mm-hmm.
Um, by doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to do it. Integrate AI first, and then from there, you'll know if it's not giving you the results you want, and why, right? You
Mhm.
start figuring out that why, then you go backwards.
Mhm. That's the workflow again. Oh, we went through workflows.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we have any questions? No questions yet. So, team management and human AI collaboration. How do we prepare and upskill our team to work effectively with AI? Use
Mm.
it.
Yes.
Everybody needs to use it.
Mhm. Yeah, I think the best way to approach any type of new tools, just like in any system, we're just discussing AI because it's a huge thing, but is to try it. Nobody really learns without having to actually do the work.
Exactly.
Yeah. So and this is about getting it right, getting it wrong, making mistakes or having to yourself to get used to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you measure that? Like, well, I've I've thought about that. I mean, I've seen it, right? Especially if you're a volume-based business, um, you'll
Mm-hmm.
be able to do more volume.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you is the team working better?
Yes.
Is it more effective
Mm-hmm.
with AI? Are you able to do more now?
Yes.
Right? Are you
I've,
able to do things faster?
yeah, I've always loved the impact that AI has had, um, in a way that it has helped automations make sense. So this is mostly on the part, the ones that I've lived through is the ones in the finance
Hmm.
or accounting. Poor people. They just, they have it tough.
Yeah, it's just spreadsheets.
Yes, it's a really tough. It is not like numbers are bad. No, not at all. It's just that
It's
understanding
tedious. Yeah.
financing is super, super um, tough. It's just tough, and so AI can get used to what your variables are, what's right and wrong. Obviously, you did all of this work to train AI, right? Because it's not like AI would know without you having to tell them. But the I think for those departments, I've had it like I've seen how it's just beautiful. It's just wow. Thank you for interpreting. It's like thank you for
Yes.
interpreting this. Is real data talking to you and saying,
Hey, this is how you do this.
it's healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's just healthier for you.
It's like because you know what needs to be done. You know
Mm-hmm.
how to do it,
Yeah.
and it's just how do you get it
Mm-hmm.
to just get it to that next step, get it ready for you
Mm-hmm.
to get it to the point where you're now manipulating what needs to happen to make that to create that outcome,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you know what the inputs need to be, so
Mm-hmm.
you know what the process should look like,
Yeah, it's a
and you
it's
know
a
what the output should look
yeah.
like.
Mm-hmm. It's a very how do you call it when it's a yes or no process. Definitely.
You know,
So it's easier for you to understand. It's super yes and no.
do you have this
But then
input?
yeah,
Yes, no.
yes, no, exactly. But then that yes and no can really just alleviate and help teams work. I mean, it's just incredible. To me, it's just
Yeah, the senior expert that's been doing this for many years, they they're the ones that are really struggling on how to use AI, right?
mm-hmm.
Because it's not as
They
fast as them.
yeah.
They know they've been doing it as for so
Yes.
long.
It's like, oh, you people don't think, obviously. No, it's
Yeah,
not that.
it's not that.
But it's not that. But yes, they've had to train their brains to do these.
They have that reinforcement learning.
Yes. And it's not like I don't want to say it in a negative way because I think that is great. But then you think about all of these other space that you are just not dedicating to those tasks and you just do other things,
Yeah,
other important things. We have to do a lot of things anyway.
yeah, and that's kind of from a tech perspective. It's like how do we use it? Well, it's helping us write code, which allows us to be
Mm-hmm.
faster. And now because we have multiple repositories of projects,
Mm-hmm.
we can
Reach more people.
exactly. And um, if we've done something already before, we can just pull it.
If
And
anything, we're doing a lot of more work, right?
yeah, we're and that's true also. Like
Sort
I
of.
remember when I first started diving into AI,
Hmm.
I was using it to like just
Fun.
yeah, no, for my emails, like professional
Oh,
emails and stuff like
yeah,
that.
exactly. The very first step.
Yeah, very
I
just
loved it too.
yeah, and then I started using it more consistently, and it gave me more and more coherent emails that are very specific, like very direct and clear to the
Hmm.
objective. But then there were some emails where like I could have just written this myself in a minute than what I got.
Yeah.
And so you gotta, and that's where you have to, that's where I started to very like have an understanding of, okay,
What
if
do
it's,
you want?
I know exactly what I want
What
to
do you
use
want?
it for. Um, and without
It's
that
11
experience, I would
o'clock.
have never been able to
To know that.
understand that, hey,
Hmm.
you know, I'm actually losing time by having AI to write this email for me.
Hmm. Yeah, that's. I think it's well. It's not in this slide, but it definitely is your point right there. Is that what do I want to actually delegate?
Exactly.
That's one thing. Very important.
So, what roles should remain human centric, and how do we redefine job responsibilities around AI? Well, I think that the industries started in a wrong spot
Hmm.
because it's like what you see right now is affecting marketing,
Customer service.
customer
Hmm.
service.
We did it backwards.
I think we've done it backwards
Oh wow.
because I think it should have started with the tech, the data side of things,
Mm.
and streamlining data and the flow and the pipelines of data.
Mm.
I think that's where we should have started because the human creative part is
It's
untapped.
irreplaceable.
It's
Hmm.
irreplaceable, right?
Hmm.
So that personal experience of having actual human answer the phone.
Hmm.
What's your problem? How can I help you? And then having that operator have an AI agent listening in on the conversation
Hmm.
and help, like giving them the assistance that they need
Hmm.
to accelerate that call so they can move on to the next um, customer that needs support, right?
So you're saying we should have. I'm not sure when did the actual analytics became so friendly for you to use, but I know for sure that right now it's just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like you input um, three spreadsheets, and you literally can make questions around that. We didn't used to do that, but we had some tools, right?
Yeah.
That were meant to shrunk that data and say this makes sense.
Yeah, with some
But
pipelines.
it wasn't as friendly as it is now. But then we focused on customer service, and we should have started that after.
I
Maybe,
believe that's what I believe. I
maybe,
think customer service should have been the last thing.
maybe. Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's all being worked on at the same time now. At this
Hmm.
point, we're all we're all on the boat together. We're all trying to figure it out from every single angle. I think um,
There's so many talents.
yeah, and I think we're gonna go. I think we're gonna go straight into the customer service and pipeline, and that's been affected with AI and how that's gonna grow. But I think once everything else gets better built out, the data
Hmm.
pipelines, the data ingestion, the process automation and workflows,
Hmm.
um, the governance of the data using AI as well through rule engines, then we're going to go back to customer service, and
Hmm.
that's going to be
It's getting better. Yeah.
a more human centric role than what I think is being portrayed today, as in, oh, have an AI appointment setter, have an AI,
Mhm.
um, um, what's it called, receptionist,
Mhm.
or AI dispatcher, um, that actually communicate with the human, right?
Mhm.
I think there's going to be certain plays and places where that's going to still play out,
Yeah,
where
Siri does a good job.
it can do better.
Uh,
Um, but
it can do better, yes.
um,
Hey Siri, no Siri, no.
yeah, and I think when it's going to have to deal with like human to human interactions, that's that needs to be AI less, and then if it's going to be system to human interaction, then
Mhm.
it needs to be a push from the system to the human,
Mhm. Mhm.
and maybe some very rudimentary conversations feedback that the human can provide back to
To
the
the system.
system,
Mhm.
to be able to accept that. But
Yeah, I
to
agree. I feel like I'm not much of a reviewer per se, but if I don't have something at hand that I'm looking for, that maybe I think a lot of people would make a good use of this information right now. So I go to the review immediately. So it's like maybe we just haven't gotten used to, because we don't have the time to provide all of that feedback,
yeah,
and developers need that.
yeah,
So that's a great point. Software system input with the, I feel like for every time that I've done the feedback for some systems, it has worked. Yeah,
yeah.
it has worked.
I know redefine job responsibilities a lot. I think that's what every company should be doing, is
Mhm.
reviewing all of the job description, all of the tasks, really the task list of every
Mhm.
role, um, and literally just stamping which ones can be improved with AI.
Yep.
So now with AI powered decision making and strategy. So what data sources and metrics should AI use to make informed business decisions? That's where I'm talking about. That's where we need to start.
Constraint.
That's where we need to start. The data sources.
Mhm. Yep.
It needs
Yep.
to be from the data and the metrics up, um, because that's what's going to allow those businesses' decisions to now affect team management, AI collaboration. It's a trickle down effect from there.
Correct.
Um, and of course, so the actual question for this depends on your role
Mhm.
and your company and what you do in your industry. Um, but really think about it from your, as an individual contributor watching this, look at it from your perspective of
Yeah.
what data sources do I need or look at on a day-to-day basis, what metrics do I use on a day-to-day basis, and then how do I make decisions with those, right? And start writing those down, and then now you can start building an AI agent around that
Mhm.
role and those types and that data source and those metrics
Can you
and
get
those
can
decision
you get
making.
all meticulous about that?
Oh yeah, you can
Mhm.
if you if your role, if you're a true expert of your role,
Yeah. There you
you
go.
already have
Mhm.
your run book
Mhm.
as
Task.
to what you do when you encounter a
An issue.
situation or
Mhm.
issue or
Exactly.
project or
Mhm.
task. So you already have your tree of everything that's going to
Decision
make
making.
your
Mhm.
decision making
Yep.
tree
Mhm.
of everything that you're going to do to
What
get back to the
happens
outcome.
in the case of if?
Exactly.
That's
Which
super
is if.
nice. Yeah, which is if. Yeah, and then you just choose around that. Wow. I mean, all of these you'd have to replace, to fully replace yourself. You would have to also train someone. So this would be kind of like a training material for your AI to know what would you do.
You're building the
Hmm.
training material for the agent.
Yeah. Hmm. So
And when should AI operate autonomously?
yeah,
Autonomously.
autonomously.
And when should a human oversight be required? So
That's a tough one. To me, there's always going to be an oversight of that
you're ultimately
because,
accountable.
yeah. And I mean, to be really honest, an owner wants to have is like a, you know how we used to say your right hand person. Maybe you're going to have to get used to your left hand agent and your right hand person.
That's awesome.
Yeah, right. Like this is a person, but then you have, and then
Your
you achieve
agent.
complete balance.
Your
But then,
balance. Oh my goodness.
then
Look
you have
at
your
her.
agent and your person. It
Flora
looks
is
like
all about
this
balance.
person is going to get a lot of help from this agent. Like honestly, that's super great.
Wow, that was
Yeah.
awesome.
No. So
For me,
no.
my answer is nothing. You
No.
need both.
You
You
need
need the
both.
balance.
Yeah, you need the balance. You don't need you kind of like you could operate autonomously, yeah. But then when you encounter an issue, you get so much frustration.
And
Your level of risk will be too high.
I see that that's what's going to happen here. I mean, it's happened to me a couple times, um, where it's autonomously, it's doing the thing. You
Good.
set it and forget it. It's good.
Nice.
You love it, and then something
Yay.
bad happens,
Oops.
and then you
Crash.
got to research,
Yeah.
and it takes you double the time
Could
that it
be
would have been before
if you would have
done
had.
it yourself.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because now you have to research what went wrong, why it went wrong, what are you going to do to
Mhm.
fix it, how
Mhm.
are you going to fix it,
Mhm.
and then actually fix it.
Mhm.
When before, when you're part of that process, when you are the one doing the
Mhm.
process, something goes wrong, you already know all everything that you've done if you're paying attention
Yeah. Or
to fix it.
your other person, right? This other person that you also train. Um, I feel like this called for a I don't know where I learned it honestly, but there's this saying about when you're growing your business and you try. I think it's a book called Scaling Up.
Mhm.
Literally, that's what it's called, and it's a textbook. It's one of those university ones, super boring,
I like those.
step by step. Yeah,
Those are my
it's super.
favorite.
Yeah, it's awesome book. Okay, but it's super boring. And what
It's
it
detailed. It's
teaches you,
not boring. It's
it's
detailed.
yeah, it's detailed, super detailed. But what it tells you is that you can literally one word. You cannot be focusing doing the job while on. You cannot grow while working on the job because you're doing the job. No, you have to be off the job to know where to grow.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that book was, I think it came to me a while ago when you had to set up your own mindset of growth at a point in which you just need to let go.
Yeah.
And that's super hard.
It is. It is. I can tell you firsthand, it is really hard to let go
Yeah.
as a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but one of the strategies that I've, because I've read all these textbooks,
Mm-hmm.
um, is that from Extreme Ownership by
Oh,
Jocko
that's a
Willing,
good one.
right?
I've never read it,
So one of the
but it's a
things
good
that
one.
he mentioned was
Mm-hmm.
the leader has to look up.
Yeah.
The leader has
Mm-hmm.
to be able to observe the battlefield and
Mm-hmm.
observe what's going on
Mm-hmm.
and trust that his team is
It's
doing
going to do it.
no,
Yeah.
that his team is doing the things
Yeah.
that their role, right,
Mm-hmm.
as part of the team. Your role in the team is to be the leader,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right, and everybody else has roles as to what they need to do. And as a leader, if you're not looking up while your team is looking down at what they
At the
need to
task.
focus at the
Yeah.
task at
Mm-hmm.
hand, that's when failure happens.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, his example, like where people can die, right, in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
battlefield,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because you're literally not looking at what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's the case here as well, is that you have to be able to look up.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, everybody's a leader. If you have a job, a role, you are the leader of that role.
Mm-hmm.
You have those tasks that are assigned to you, and you are accountable for those tasks. So you are the leader of those tasks.
Yeah.
So
Take extreme ownership.
you have to take extreme ownership of those tasks.
It's a
And
tough
then
one.
what do you do from there, right? You are now an operator and the leader.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to. Um, a great example is owner operators in the HVAC industry, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
the field service industry,
Oh wow. Yeah.
right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they physically have to go do the field
The
service
job.
work,
Yeah.
and then they have to go back home and they have to look up as to what am I going to do tomorrow, which who am I,
Mm-hmm.
who's whose air conditioning am I fixing tomorrow,
Mm-hmm. True.
right?
Yes.
And so, and how am I going to get more leads, and how am I going to, so
The
owner,
the
exactly,
responsiveness that you need to have in a business.
exactly. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the direction that we're going, or
Mm-hmm.
at least we should be going, is that anybody, if it's in your own business, if it's in a corporation, if you manage big teams, small teams, there's just going to be a lot of owner operators of those roles.
That need that.
Yeah, and what's the best team? The team that has all leaders, that
Mm-hmm.
they all trust each other, and they
Yeah.
all bring to the table their
Mm-hmm.
expertise. And if
Super.
someone has something to put in, they will,
Yeah.
without being asked, right?
You literally are tapping into the owner inside. So maybe we go to the dive where we're monitoring.
Yeah.
We're not there yet on the trust, but this is essential because one thing is to know what task am I going to give AI and where am I going to let go and blah blah blah. But then, wow, what does efficiency means to you? What are your most valuable metrics and where and how to monitor them? Like, is it my time response? Is it my quality of response? Is it both?
And that's where you have to look up.
Yeah.
If you're too busy doing it,
Mm-hmm.
you won't have the time
The time
to
to
figure out
replace yourself.
exactly. The problem is you. You got to fix you, right?
You gotta fix you. It's you. The
Yeah.
problem is you.
Yeah. And so you have to know what your KPIs are, what are
Yeah.
your measurements are, what are the how are you measuring that performance and efficiency? And if you
Yeah.
don't have that data, how are you going to capture it? If you do have that data, how are you
Mm-hmm.
going to report on it? How are you going to monitor it? At what frequency?
Yeah. And this can get overwhelming, because most of the times you only start with one thing though,
Yeah,
and it's your time.
exactly.
How are you going to get yourself out of the question, out of the equation, in order for it to create the balance that it needs for either a person or the one monitoring the AI agent? So I think it's crucial. Every metric matters, but then you start with one thing. So is it my response time? Because so the field service people are literally within, then
They have to answer the
the
call.
yeah, and they can't.
And whoever is the first person that answers the call,
Hmm.
or if it's a
They
plumber
need to
or
know it
HVAC,
too.
yeah,
They need
whoever
to.
answers first
Hmm.
gets the client
Yes, well, most of the time.
most of the time.
Hmm.
Especially if it's an emergency. Hey, my AC is not working.
Yes, exactly.
They're calling whoever's going to pick up first and get them the immediate action and fix and give them the immediate solution is
Hmm.
most likely the one that's going to win the business.
Of course. Yep.
Um, what else?
Oh well, it seems like the safeguards and review processes should be in place to ensure AI remains ethical and unbiased. That's a tough one. Are we there yet?
I think with the reinforcement learning and the reasoning, yeah,
Yeah.
but have have the framework's evolved enough to where you are now able to leverage those safeguards, and now you have AI reviewing the
Mm-hmm.
reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to happen is that we're building a pyramid of AI frameworks
Mm.
because you have the response, you have the reasoning of why the AI gave you that response.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to have the AI that's going to review the reasoning of that response.
Mm-hmm. And then you have some, at some point you had to add some workflow to just go
You got to check.
on yeah, on someone.
Yeah. And so what does, and then it also depends on the process, what should be in place to ensure AI remains ethical and unbiased. What those are the agents that are reviewing the reasoning and the response.
Mm-hmm.
They're gatekeepers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you gatekeep
Yeah.
and have make sure that it's ethical and it is unbiased?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and essentially that's the measurement.
Yeah.
Which way are you going to go? So customer experience and AI integration. So how do we use AI to improve customer experience while maintaining a
Oh,
personal touch?
this is a tough one
Be you.
because yeah, be yourself. Yeah, that's a super easy answer. Be you. But you know what? Have you thought of the personal touch that I think whomever has experienced the interaction that you have with ChatGPT, you have all of these questions and it just comes back in a very polite way. And then you say even thank you, like you feel the
Please,
obligation to
thank you.
say please, thank you. I mean, that's a great idea. Why haven't I thought about it? But
I could waste I waste like so much time writing please
saying
and thank
please
you.
and thank you, I don't think
Do
it's
you
a
think it's
waste.
necessary?
It's supposed to not be, but apparently it's being measured, right?
It could be.
Because if
Yeah.
you were to also then ask, what do you think about me, then you've been so polite all this time.
Right.
If you've added into the memory stuff.
Yeah. So when it comes to memory, because if it is part of memory and
Yeah,
it is learning
from
how
you.
you
Yeah, how you
speak,
communicate.
how you communicate, and
Yeah,
you tell it, hey, I want you to
this
write
is my
this in
writing
my
style.
voice, in my
Yeah,
tone.
I love when it asks me because
It
I've
may be
always
necessary to like if you're trying to get your sentiment,
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
What type of
where
character do you have?
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
the
Like
writing
if you're
style.
like if it's something like very urgent, you
Mm-hmm.
probably will use wording that will indicate that.
Yeah.
Or yeah, so it's
So
you
you
can
would.
use it like if you're for example analyzing calls and a customer comes in a rush, they're not gonna say please, they're gonna
They're
so
gonna say.
so at the end, like for example, if you want to probably like automate the quality analysis of that call,
Mm-hmm.
then you go after those keywords.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
And I
even
think that's part
inflection of the
that.
actual
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah.
Inflection of
That's
voice.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that is part of quality as of without. I mean, that was part of quality even before AI existed. That was a
Yeah, that was
because
always a
did you
thing.
use the right set of tone and all of that? So you
Did
know,
it go past a certain decibel, right? Because they're yelling at you.
yeah, and it did go like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been in the quality department where there's voice involved, but there was definitely the right words that you could use in order to get the client to calm down. And how how do you use it with AI? Of course, I think AI is um, it's better than all of us, like at understanding and
You know
it's
what I haven't seen?
you
Sorry,
haven't seen.
finish
No,
your
no,
thought.
no problem.
No,
Hmm.
finish your thought.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just better than us at many levels in which if you're
If it's hyper
trying to
focused,
yes,
yeah, on a
it's
specific
on a,
task.
uh-huh.
But
It,
I think it's. I don't think it's better. I disagree with you. I don't
okay.
think it's better than us. I just
It,
think that we're too busy to be hyper focused on one thing.
okay, that makes sense.
I think
Maybe
it's
the
probably
broader
more
tasks
consistent.
There we go.
more
It's because it's a
consistent.
system.
Yeah.
It's a consistent response.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Totally.
Because like for example, like when you were on the phones, sometimes you felt a little blue, and that would affect the responses.
Definitely. You
So,
said
Oh
your
yeah, how
tone.
you felt
how
as a
you
person.
felt would affect the customer service that you
Mhm.
provide to your customers.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you were fighting
But
with your husband or wife the night
exactly,
before, and now
be
you just
like,
have
nah,
a.
what do you want? Be
Yes.
like,
That's
and
true.
it's probably like super unconscious at the moment, but then you go back like, wow, that was like that
Bad
was
call.
that was a bad
I
call.
hope quality doesn't get it.
Yeah. But
I hope they don't flag this call.
Yeah.
That's an happening mood.
Yeah. It's consistent.
It's an
You said the
analytical
word.
tool. It's literally analyzing everything that you put into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was going to add. Oh man, I forgot.
Mm-hmm. No way.
What was I talking about? What did I start with?
You I started with the where it's better than us. I said it's
Before that.
definitely. Oh, before it was better
So
than
how do
us.
we use AI to improve customer experience while maintaining personal touch? I feel like
I don't know.
we were talking about how it's learned from
Your writing
your
style.
writing style and
Mm-hmm.
how you communicate in your tone. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. You were
Mm-hmm.
talking about customer service and how you kind of get the sentiment and you know
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
tone and
Alvin. Alvin
yeah,
said
Alvin mentioned that.
this at the tone.
Um, you know something I haven't seen
Mm.
in these like AI tools, because we have an AI phone tool as well that helps measure
Mm-hmm.
sentiment and things like that as well, and summarize our conversations.
Right.
But what I haven't
It's a
seen
summary.
is literal face of what the client would look like a happy face, like an actual emoticon,
Oh, it's like
and that
this
as
one
you're
is
talking,
mad.
yeah, and that literally shows you the
Like,
face as
oh,
the
and the tone is
client
set
is,
in it.
yeah, and the tone is setting it in real
Okay.
time with the conversation.
Okay, so as if it's not the actual face, right?
Of
No,
course, we're on the
no, we're
phone,
not.
right?
We're on
We're
the
on the
phone.
phone with the
It's
client,
almost as if am I getting you mad with this
and you
conversation?
might not know that.
And you might not
You
know.
might not catch on to
This
it because
one's
there's,
getting irritated.
yeah, because there's,
Yeah.
especially worldwide, right?
Yes.
There's so many cultures.
Mhm.
There's so many different
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
aspects of how culturally we interact.
Wow. Uh huh. So through my voice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just through
I
your,
know there's definitely a tone in which I'm happier, friendlier, frustrated, obviously.
or in a bank perspective, they know everything, like where you live, where you
Ah,
come from,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
things like that. Like if they have that information already, and so
Mm-hmm.
now you just have, and maybe they have a picture of you too, and so
Mm.
now it's a picture of you on their
And you're getting
screen,
mad.
and they're like, right, and so
That would be fun.
because
But no.
that's a
Is it
lot of
wouldn't
people
that
are
be
visual.
creepier?
It would be very creepy. It's a very creepy idea, but I'm thinking about it from an experience perspective.
Uh-huh.
I'm a new caller or customer
Uh-huh.
service agent or account executive or whatever,
Okay.
and I have this account profile, and I'm getting this call coming in, and I've never interacted with this person in my life,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm reading possibly a script, or I'm trying to assist. I have a
An
workbench.
account,
Yeah,
right?
I'm trying to work with that
Mm-hmm.
account. Um, and we're visual. A lot of us are visual people,
A lot
and
more.
so
Mm-hmm.
we could see the words of color coding and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's very linear.
Mm-hmm.
It's rudimentary, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
horrible at catching sarcasm.
Mm.
Like
Okay.
I'm one of those, like you're sarcastic with
Mm-hmm.
me.
I wouldn't.
That's why Alvin talks to me and he says things that are sarcastic, and
Mm-hmm. It's all
it goes
it
over
just
my
goes.
head all the
Yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what do you? And I'm being serious. I'm like, what do you
What do you
mean? What
mean?
does that mean?
Yeah, was that a
And he
joke
was
or
like, it was a
your?
joke. I'm like, oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
that's funny.
um,
So the account executive would have a something.
or maybe I don't know. I like to overcomplicate things sometimes. I have these crazy ideas, but
I mean, it's an application.
yeah,
This is a use case.
it's a use case.
we would have to go through all of these process of where's the governance, because do clients really want you to go
It's
all
just a
that
tool,
deep?
right? It's
Is
just a
it?
tool.
It is a
Whether you
tool,
use it or not, it's up to
just like any
you.
other.
Yeah.
It's just about setting the tone for the client. And at the end of the day, if it's wrong within the right perspective and objectives and the right goals, then it's achieving something. And it's achieving personalization, which is one of the,
What we're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is literally just going above and beyond with your client. And do you really want that? I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
I've
We want
seen.
the best for our
I
clients.
feel, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like for every business owners, you would have to want to have a best customer experience, improve it, and have AI to tell you
How it
how to
went,
do
how
it.
you do, how you can do better next time,
Yeah.
and also help you within if you're newer,
Mhm.
help you along the way,
Mhm.
hold your
Will
hand.
it be trust? Will it build trust with customers?
So how do you build that trust with customers regarding AI driven interactions and decisions? And that's where I was taught, the idea that provided
Mhm.
is that it's going to what's going to matter most is the experience.
Yeah. Always
It's always about the
the
experience.
journey
Yeah,
the client gets.
exactly. So that's that's how businesses should be talking about
Mhm.
AI is what is the experience that we want our customers to have with AI and how do we get there?
Definitely.
And then, well, the most important thing is why do we need that experience?
Yeah. Well,
Because
what
for
do you
me,
want?
what do you want?
What do you want? Uh,
So, well, here's
the
the
last,
constraints, the rules.
yeah, there goes the rules. Because I was um, I was only thinking about this account holder trying to get further into a situation with the client to improve it. And I've thought about, but do we have permission to modify the face of the client? That's the only thing
Yeah,
that
all
came
that
in.
data and
Because
stuff.
do we need to ask the
Well,
client?
that's what I'm saying. That I was just thinking like an
It would be
emoticon.
emoticon, right?
Yeah, like it would
Yeah,
like
maybe
because
not modify the face of the client.
yeah, and then that also helps. You know, it's standardization, right? You use Apple, Android. They all use the similar
They do.
emoticons, right? Or
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, um, you
Hmm.
know, people be sending emoticons, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I don't know. They're talking emoticon, and I don't know what it
Exactly.
means.
So
But if I had a
is that
tool,
this is the next step? Exactly.
yeah.
That's the next step. Exactly.
So, what cybersecurity measures should be implemented to protect AI-driven systems and data? All
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
of them. A broader answer, it's you need to have the monitoring piece in place. That's how you have those measures be effective. Um, and then also the cybersecurity part, it's all about who permissions, who has access to
Mm-hmm.
that data,
Always.
and so I
Grant.
it doesn't change. The cybersecurity perspective, I think, from it's already been defined. So
Mm-hmm.
you just have to apply that framework to
Right.
AI driven systems and AI driven data.
Mm-hmm.
How you do that, it requires AI driven cybersecurity
Mm-hmm.
and gatekeepers to make sure that nothing, because if it's going to be dynamic, the gatekeeper also needs to be dynamic. And then
Exactly.
you probably need multiple, and then you probably need a human in the loop, depending on what type of data it is,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to execute. But ultimately,
This
verifying,
is more complex.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
it's a
just
little bit
getting
more
more complex.
complex. Yeah, but it's all about permissions, who has access, and then verifying identity of who
Mm-hmm.
needs to have that
Mm-hmm.
access,
Exactly.
which is hard nowadays because you can't do voice recognition identity anymore.
Mm.
If there's companies out there doing that, they're at risk. The whole facial recognition is also at risk. Um,
Zero trust, huh?
Zero trust is the future.
Yeah.
And that goes and answers the second question. So, how do we mitigate risk associated with AI errors, biases, or system failures? Um,
I think you,
the gatekeepers.
yeah, the gatekeepers. We have always come up with a new methodology of how to get our information secure anyway. So there's always going to be something new for you to take in as a step. Will it be like a key question? Would it be like some anything? I mean, we have invented this, so
Yeah,
we're just becoming more and more at good at it.
yeah,
Literally.
yeah. We're
So
we're literally making it up as
like,
we go.
tell me the password. I don't know the password,
I don't know
but
my password either.
I don't know it either. But what I'm saying is that there will be at some point one key that you could know that would be for you to impossible to pull a string out of the system because you're the only one that knows.
Yeah.
Would it be something personal within the relationship? I mean, that's why we've invented security keys before.
Yeah, and that
Security
actually,
questions, right?
yeah, and we have a client exploring how to connect their entire databases to AI,
Mm-hmm.
and that scares me
Mm.
because you can't. And I've also worked at a location where all the data objects were constrained, right? Only certain type of people can access these types of data. Um, and what scares me now is that everybody's exploring in this space and they're plugging in their AI to their databases. And I'm not worried about it being trained on, etc. What I'm worried about is exposing unauthorized data.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because how do you know that the person that's talking to the AI has access to that data?
Mm.
And so that's where you have to be extremely careful what you connect to what AI, and make sure you mitigate that risk. And that's where you need an AI engineer or an AI governance team
Mm-hmm.
to be able to audit these builds.
Yeah.
And
What you just said is actually just that question. Look, literally, are we creating more bottlenecks for all of these processes? I mean, if we're taking AI into all of the processes, maybe yes. And that's just one step to take because it will
you
change
got to
the
build it.
way we do the task.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The building is the bottleneck,
Yeah.
and building it right is the bottleneck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the bottleneck of doing things right.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to do things right, the bottleneck is going to be you got to
Needs to
spend the
be
time to do
created.
it.
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
got to spend the time to do it right, and that is going to not. It's like, um, you hurt now so that you never have to hurt again tomorrow,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's an exercise, right? You want bigger biceps, you got to lift heavier.
You gotta live heavier. That's true.
So how can AI help scale our business efficiently without creating new bottlenecks? It's going to create. It is a new bottleneck. AI is new
Mm-hmm.
itself. Its implementation is part of the bottleneck. So
I think I know the solution.
what's the
What is
solution?
the solution?
Do not give the LLM access to your database.
That's true.
Oh,
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Just create
you
functions.
fit in?
Yeah, you can create a function.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's more a backend work, right? The backend already knows who is supposed to get what information,
Uh-huh.
and it's not gonna return anything that you don't need, right? So you just do the call for the backend. The backend returns the data that you have access to, and
Mm.
now that's where you bring the LLM
Exactly. To
to
interpret the
interpret the
data.
data,
Mhm.
right?
Mm.
But you're not gonna plug it into your LLM.
No.
Go ahead and search for it.
It's
First
not,
of all,
so
it's
this
gonna kill
step,
your database because it's gonna try to look through all the databases. That's
okay.
not efficient at
So
all.
this extra step in the workflow is not the LLM with your database, but you have a little function.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That
one
fetches
step
the data
it
and
fetches,
then
Yeah.
you just
and then you
interpret the
interpret.
data.
You control it to just that workflow.
Yeah,
Exactly.
makes sense.
Or that data, you constrain it to that data object workflow.
Yeah, it
of-
looks like if these are just literally just best practices for how you want to implement AI in your database. Yeah,
It's just another wrapper.
Yeah, it's just another wrapper. Yeah.
another
So
wrap.
you don't have to read through all that data.
Yeah,
Let the AI read it for you. But
exactly.
you will get only your data.
Exactly. You own only the data you have permission to.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where role-based access to the
Yeah,
database is
exactly.
extremely important.
And
all
then
that.
user comes into place. Yeah, that looks like a great workflow.
It's a lot of, you have to do a lot of
Thinking.
gymnastics. I don't know how to say it.
That's the bottleneck
Yeah.
that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You have to
Because-
create it.
Now you do have some bottlenecks depending on what LLM you're using. There's
Ah.
the context window, how much data you can pass to the LLM on a query to make sure it provides responses that are accurate.
Mm-hmm.
You want to come sit down, Alvin?
No, 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 no. But yeah, but basically, yeah, that's another concern as well.
Yep,
Making sure you're not throwing too much data.
of
Exactly.
course. Yeah,
Thank you.
that makes it.
So, how do we ensure AI remains adaptable and continuously improves with evolving market trends? It's
Hmm.
too early. It's too early to answer that question, but you just have to have a flexible architecture, be AI agnostic,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you have to have the AI engineers to be able to continuously improve
Mm-hmm.
the instruction sets, the data, the function calls that we were just talking about, the integrations that we were just talking about. You have to make those right.
Yep.
So start journey.
Yep.
So
Our approach.
if you thought that this was sarcastic to you, I'm joking. If this went over your head,
No.
we provide a free AI audit
Mm-hmm.
where we come in and ask you a bunch of questions about how you do things, and look at your operations. We literally have to look at everything to figure out
Mhm.
where's the best place to plug
Integrate.
AI and get
Mhm.
the most amount of value for your business.
Mm-hmm.
It could also depend on what's hurting your business
The
the
most.
most,
Yep.
and what's the biggest bottleneck in your business
Mhm.
right now
Mm-hmm.
that we probably need to fix first. Because once we alleviate that bottleneck and
Mhm.
create a big pipeline for bandwidth,
Mm-hmm.
then that helps downstream or upstream. And
Does it hurt?
It hurts.
It hurts.
Change hurts.
Change hurts. Yeah.
Change hurts.
For every time that there has been any changes for just about anything, you just go like, "Oh, I missed this," and it's normal within
normal.
us naturally, and obviously within the system. It would always be hurting something.
it, it's it is an impact.
Yeah.
It is literally an
Painful.
impact. It is. We try to make it as painless as possible.
Obviously. Yeah.
It's a lot less painful when the doctor says look away, close your eyes, and then they give you a vaccine, right?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
so that's kind of the approach that we
Mhm.
go is we don't tell you to look away, we tell you, hey, look at this.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, here's what it's going to take, here's what we're going to do, strategize, we
Mhm.
plan, and then we get confirmation if that's the right, where this is not your business is not our business.
Mm-hmm.
Our business is to help your business. And so strategize and planning is what we'll provide. Now you are the decision maker. It's your business. You're in the driver's seat. You tell us which direction we need to go, and then that's what we will execute on. Um, but we do try to help that AI growth partnership because AI isn't a one-time project.
It's an ongoing. Yep.
It's long term,
Mm-hmm.
and it needs to be able to be framed in a way that it evolves your business. So our approach, wow, the wind is strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So our approach is starting over. Always
Mm-hmm.
start from the beginning.
Yeah, the drawing board.
Yep.
Mhm.
Started from the bottom.
Now we're here.
Now we're here. Prioritize high impact, high value areas first, things that are going to make life easier today,
Mm-hmm.
and then start working on what's the next thing,
Mm-hmm.
what's the next area that we need to modernize or revolutionize with AI.
Mm-hmm.
And we just
Yeah.
answered this. It's a growth. AI is a growth partnership. You can't just set it up once. You
Mm-hmm.
could,
But
but
it's
that
not
means your
magic.
business isn't changing.
Yes.
Is your business is not
Mm-hmm.
evolving. Your business isn't scaling, or it could be. You could. There's very specific areas where AI can just, what
Plug
does it
in.
do? Be
Yeah.
plugged in, and all it does is pass the butter,
Yeah.
right? What is your purpose? Pass the butter, and that's all
Mm-hmm.
it does. Um,
Yeah,
but
but
what we're
that's not strategic. See,
yeah, what
it
we're
does.
talking about when we
It's
mean AI,
mm-hmm.
it's AI
The whole.
for the entire,
Mm-hmm.
from beginning to end
Mm-hmm.
of business processing, right? Because if you do that right, it's ever evolving, it's ever
Mm-hmm.
changing,
Does
but it's
it?
ever secure as well.
Is it changing? How we train talent also?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think I think the next generation of talent is the
It's
best, going to be the best talent that's ever
there is.
that there
Yeah.
is going to be.
Mm-hmm. I also think so. I've seen how little minds work, and they are just. This just reminded me of the cover. See, the author Adam Grant said that the cover of his book, uh, "Think Again," literally was because of the idea of a kid lighting up the a fire with water. So he said these kids, they come with other brains. So they have like a wider perspective of stuff that we are being aware
It's
of.
perspective.
And they are just making us think again. So he explained that, and I just go like, these kids are like amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
They
it was they're teenagers. The one, they built an app where you just take a picture of your food and it automatically calculates and
the
estimates the
calories,
calories.
yeah. It was a kid
Yeah,
that
they were
made
like
it.
four. There were two 14-year-olds, I
No
believe.
way.
Yeah,
These kids, like, no. You it's weird to get your heads around that, because at that age I we were not doing that.
I was
I
not like that. I mean, obviously
me
not
yes.
with AI,
So I'm a little bit
but I
older,
was playing
people.
around with computers and stuff
You
like
were
that.
already playing with the computers, but I wasn't really born or got mixed into the tech world until I was literally like at 15. So this just, it really just gives you a jump start for your brain
Yeah,
to be developed in such a way that is just
you're just information. You just have
incredible.
information.
Yeah.
It's
I hope it's not the information overload, and I hope that they are also being made aware that there could be some critical stages in which you are getting too much of it. But I'm thinking they are very self-aware more, and kids are just bright
yeah.
in general. It's amazing. So, but AI is not magic.
Nope.
No, no, it's
It's
not
not going to
magic.
run your business for you without you.
Yeah,
It needs you.
exactly.
Remember, you have to fix
Thanks
you.
you.
You fix you first, and then you can fix the next
Thanks.
person, your next
Mm-hmm.
colleague, the next
Yeah.
department, and
Yeah.
then now that's where the business starts to get really good.
Yep.
And always small, gradual, strategic, and make sure that it's aligned with your mission.
What do you want?
What do you want?
What do you want? It's complicated.
So this is what owners are looking for, right? They want AI that is going to come in and add value, not things that are going to that look cool, that
Mhm.
just replaces and add more headaches, that complicates things. It's what it's always been. Keep it simple.
Mhm. Mhm.
Keep it simple. Keep it valuable. And don't think that, oh, I need to replace the entire role with
Mhm.
AI. Think what can be replaced.
Mhm.
And I think you need to let the role, the user, be an owner operator of
Of
their
the AI.
tasks
Yeah.
and the AI.
Yes.
That's how you're going to get the most value. Because the reason that that person is going to be successful at their role is because they are going to add that personalization
Mhm.
to that role because
To
they
a
own it,
higher level. Mhm.
because they own it, and now they can take it to
Mhm.
that higher level.
Mhm.
They can use AI to look up and see, okay, this is where we are today, but I'm looking up and I need to go there.
Mhm.
And that's how you get folks that are aligned with the company vision. That's how you get folks that are aligned with your culture because they're able to personalize their tasks, right? That are measurable, that have an outcome
Yep.
that needs to happen for the business to flow. But they also know what they need to do to fix it themselves or improve that workflow. Maybe not exactly by themselves. I'm not saying everybody has to be an AI engineer,
Mhm.
but what I'm saying is you have your right hand.
Mhm.
Your left hand should be either AI or an AI engineer.
Yeah. There you go.
You're right. That's your left hand
Yeah.
because with your left hand, you're going to be able to improve
The
what
right
you
hand.
can do with your
With
right
the right.
hand.
Exactly. Yep.
And just be you. Don't be a robot.
Yeah.
So, what does this mean?
It means what we just said. We just said
Personalization, trust,
trust
and
and
human
human
oversight
oversight are key.
to AI adoption
Yes.
success. So, human,
Eh,
just be human.
mhm. Yep.
Yep. And if you don't know what that is, open Chat GPT right now and ask it
Yeah.
how to be a human.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure it'll give you a pretty good
Yeah.
response.
I'm a human in progress.
Oh, we all are.
Yeah.
We all are human in progress.
Can AI fully replace you?
Never.
No.
No. Only you can modify
Mhm.
the real world.
Mhm. Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
And each person is unique in their own motives, motivations, and the value that they bring to every action that they take in the world.
I want
They
to
are,
simplify that.
yeah, what?
We are our own data set.
Our own data set. That's super. That's actually yes.
Yeah, we are our own
Plug your own
experience.
little code in
Yeah.
order to
Yeah, you are your own
for
code,
LLMs
your own
to.
algorithm.
That's
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
from your experiences. And
Yes.
so can AI replace you? No, because it has to know everything about you first.
Yes. And it's not like if for every time that I've done, and I don't necessarily, I wish I would have the practice of doing journaling, but for those of you that do it,
Oh my
and
goodness,
that's
that's
a
powerful.
great, yeah, that's a great way to,
You want to build a Jarvis?
yes,
That's how
who
you do it.
doesn't? Who doesn't? Like,
I've started doing my journaling. I've shown you how I do my
yeah, so,
journaling now.
so that's super because you've actually, we've seen all of these stuff in ideas
And
and in
movies,
movies and all
books.
of that,
Yeah.
yeah, but we've have you stepped on each of your past days in which your high level has been at the maximum and then you've been at the lowest because of something that happened and then so on? That's only because someone has entered enough information in journaling enough for they to know your ups and downs and all of that.
Oh, from a
I think I
therapy
admire
perspective.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I admire for those that have the consistency, like Alvin said.
exactly.
Exactly, because then uh, then you would be. Will it be you entirely? No, I think one in that differentiate us from ChatGPT or any other LLM. We can change our minds
Hmm.
quickly. Like
Once
once
we've
we
acknowledged, yeah,
any situation can
we've
bring
made a
you to
decision.
make a different decision than what a system would have done, for example, and it was only be based by your
Wait,
ongoing experience.
do we hallucinate?
No, no, we do.
Do? Yeah,
We do
because we're
hallucinate.
like, huh, you know what? I don't, because we're going and saying
Yeah,
maybe that's what hallucination is insanity,
obviously, yeah. That
is
well,
a
going off the
systematic
frames,
insanity.
yeah,
Yeah, because we do this, if
maybe.
we do the same thing over and over
Mhm,
again, and
mhm,
then we as humans decide to,
mhm.
you know what, I'm gonna go, I always go this way, but
Uh
I'm
huh.
gonna go this way now.
There you go. That's hallucination.
Maybe.
That's a good way to say. Yeah, because it went the other direction.
Yeah. For some reason, it decided
Yeah,
to go left instead of right.
it has a connotation that is not exactly positive, but it is literally what the hallucination in the LLMs.
It's a probability.
Yeah, it's a
It's a
problem.
probability of what the next thing, the next decision should be.
Yeah.
Is it right or left?
Yes. Wow. That's true. That's a good way to put it.
And we've been going right all the time. You know what? I want to see what happens when I go
Maybe.
left.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't gone left before.
We we
And then I get
haven't
in a
had
car
it.
accident. I'm never going left again.
We haven't really had this amount of technology at hand
Yeah,
um, in the past. So,
exactly. We're learning.
in we're in a different age.
Wait, are we learning? Because we've kind of mastered
One level.
mechanical.
Yeah.
And so now we're in this digital.
Hmm.
Are we now trying to master
Well,
consciousness?
I think before digital was industrialization because
The
that's when
mechanical
we
piece.
reach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the mechanical was in place in the simplicity, but then we made it
Mass.
a little.
Yeah.
We industrialized it. We made
Industrialized it.
mass, and we
Well, that's what I'm
became
saying.
the standard.
That's what I'm saying. We've
We
mastered
mastered it.
mechanical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we master mechanics, and now in the digital age. Yeah, I think we've achieved that. It's only becoming more friendlier to each and every person.
We'll
Hmm.
see.
We'll see.
Customer want Customers want AI to improve their experience. And what we're talking about experience,
Yeah, but
but without losing trust,
hmm
personalization,
in
or
human
human
connection.
connection.
Yeah.
The personalization, every time I hear personalization, my mind goes immediately to MySpace
Mm.
because that was the only thing that everybody really loved about MySpace. It's like, who is this person? And you go to their page
Hmm.
and they personalized it to who they
You
were, the
were
music, the background, the theme, their bio.
really? I don't remember, but
Imagine if, I think Facebook could come back if they implemented some personalization like that. You go to
hmm
someone's Facebook page and it's
then
their,
it would be just
yeah,
like a profile.
yeah,
Well, just like if you were to marry Tumblr, your Reddit account, Facebook, Instagram, into
into one
one.
platform.
Wow. Yeah, and every other, right?
Let's not give Mark any more good ideas.
Exactly.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Well, that's the end
Thank
of
you.
our techno talk.
Hmm.
Thank you so much for joining. You can contact us at info@ebdevtech.com or visit our website. Call us at any time, 832-937-9622. You can scan the QR codes that will show you everything.
Hmm.
Our YouTube,
Hmm.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, maybe
Hmm.
TikTok's on there. Our website's there, our addresses are there, our emails are there,
Yep.
everything's there.
Scan QR.
All right, guys.
Great having you.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Nice.
Oh,
We did it.
we did it. I think we have a lot of content here that we can
Yeah. I think